Hola amigos de TV Agro, bienvenidos.
Hello friends of TV Agro, welcome to Cáqueza, Cundinamarca. We are located on the farm La Hacienda in the village of Mercadillo, about 30 kilometers from Bogota. My name is Jimmy Gomez. I come from the municipality of Supata. Approximately a year ago, we met in Cáqueza with the intention of changing the agricultural tradition of this area. In this farm, where we are, we traditionally dedicated ourselves to the sowing of transitory crops such as the Criolli potato, the papa de año, corn, aracacha. On this land, we have about 50 hectares. Now, by the initiative of Agropecuaria San Jose, we decided to leave approximately 30 hectares for the ecological reserve and to work on the other 20 hectares. At the moment, we are involved in the cultivation of passion fruit, which has been established in the field for approximately 8 months. We have been making a transition from chemical agriculture to a more environmentally and socially responsible agriculture. We have also been looking for interesting export markets, since the previous productions were very poorly presented in terms of price, competitiveness, and climate.
De granadilla.
As I mentioned before, this is a passion fruit crop, which is in a pre-vegetative stage for flowering. We are making a process of soil improvement through the incorporation of microorganisms and organic fertilizers. This municipality has stood out for the production of traditional crops for local and regional markets. A clear example of this production is a planting of onions, coriander, potatoes, aracacha, and maize. Together with a group of investor friends, we decided to do something different in this area with the aim of promoting a differentiated agriculture, where 3 pillars prevail, which are environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and finding markets that pay fair prices for the work that we farmers do, which would be export markets. Thank God Colombia has a privileged climate and diversity, which has allowed us to have a wide range of production, which we can exploit and take to international markets.
Tenemos tamarillo, tenemos granadilla.
We also have house avocado, tamarillo, passion fruit. We decided to plant the later fruit as it has had an interesting growth within the group of export products. Today, what we need to do is to produce more in order to meet national and international demand.
Para copar tanto el mercado nacional como el mercado de exportación. Una planta de granadilla.
From the moment a passion fruit plant is sown until its first harvest, its cycle takes approximately 14 months, and we as farmers have to do several tasks and of course make a high investment to achieve this. This is a tutoring that has been contemplated from the beginning under an environmental responsibility. As you can see, here we have a plastic guaya, which is made from recyclable materials, which we brought from the Risaralda, with the purpose of what? To mitigate the impact that the crop can have on the environment. Secondly, as it is made from recycled material, it allows us to reduce costs at the time of assembling the production. And lastly, this material will help us to reduce the temperature in the crop. That is to say, in summer, the temperature will not cause injuries to the plantations. This plant is 8 months old.
Estamos empezando a hacer todo el tema de aplicaciones.
We are starting to make production resprouts and applications for flowering tying. On this farm, we also decided to bet on innovation. We as farmers and peasants believe technological convergence should be linked to agriculture and crop management efficiently. I want to show you our irrigation system, which is done by the Venturi effect, and where we inject microorganisms fertilizer and prevent vaccines.
Porque al ser
The passion fruit, having a superficial root system, is exposed to suffer problems in its roots. That is why we decided to place mulch covering soil, as we've been working in other types of crops. We decided to bring this type of technology in order to reduce labor costs and to prevent the risks that can be caused by the contact of tools with the roots of the plant.
Con las raíces de la planta para poder, como el coco.
Remember that fusarium and nematodes are the main enemies of the passion fruit crop.
¿Qué es el fusarium? El fusarium es una vaina.
Fusarium is known as Antioquia, as sequeira. In this area, it is known as amirillamiento, or dormida de la planta. This fungus is a major limiting factor in passion fruit crops, such as passion fruit, granadilla, and gulupa.
Aparte de hacer este manejo,
In addition to this management, we also incorporate trichodermas that we capture in the same forest that we have, and we are starting to multiply them here. The cost of a granadilla crop for export purposes per hectare is around 45 to 50 million pesos in a trellising system like this one.
con Agropecuaria San José,
Today with Agropecuaria San Jose, we are looking for new alternatives, one of which is to bring the crop under glass with a trellis and espalier type trellising system. What you are looking at is a trellis type trellis. How is it developed? We have main ropes, which are 4 to 5 meters apart, while the secondary ropes are 40 to 50 centimeters apart.
van a hacer es soportar todo el sistema.
The purpose of which is to support the entire passion fruit production system. The life cycle of a passion fruit plant is 5 to 6 years, as long as its roots are provided with guarantees and quality.
Manteniéndola viva y vigorosa.
It is important to make foliar applications to keep it alive and vigorous, as well as correct pruning. We have an excellent workforce. Our objective has been the generation of employment and especially to provide great support to rural women. Since in terms of rural development, we have seen a very limited, which has been reflected in different areas of the country. Labour is increasingly scarce, so we have to reach a transition where the workforce does not entail so much wear, allowing the work to be developed in a simple, agile and efficient way.
En labores culturales de la planta desde que se siembra. Bueno, hay dos tipos de plantas ya hoy en día que se pueden conseguir en el mercado.
Nowadays in the market, you can find 2 types of plants. Here we have a common plant with any type of graft. Further on, we are going to see a plant that has a graft with chulupa.
La chulupa es una.
This is a native species which still conserves its genetic value because its root system has allowed a considerable resistance to the attack of fusarium. That is why it is grafted with a granadilla, but this is in a traditional way. At the time of enlistment, the first thing to do is to disinfect the hydrogen peroxide or a product containing ammonium.
Producto que tenga amonio para desinfectar cualquier problema de hongo que tengamos en el suelo. Es necesario hacerlo.
This is to disinfect any fungus problems that are present in the soil. It is necessary to do it. Then we do an incorporation of organic matter, one of mycorrhiza incorporation and one of beneficial fungi. At the moment of sowing, we plant the plant in order to gain ground and create a root system, so that when it grows in the future, we do not have to do any kind of damage to it. On the contrary, it will already be prepared. From the time the plant is sown until it reaches the height of the first cord, it will take about 3 to 4 months. After this time, we can start pruning. In the 8th month, we will be able to observe the result we are having now. In 2 months, all the flowers and flower buds will start to open. What is the system of a passion fruit plant like? We have a central axis, 2 axes, which we call secondary axis. And from these we start to disperse the tertiary axis, which are the productive ones. In this part is the bud, which will grow every 8 to 9 days about 10 centimeters, and this will depend on the climatic conditions. This growth will be reflected in its whole structure. Every 10 centimeters, it will throw 2 flowers which will become fruit. A new cutting will flower, which will become a ginteri axis, which will also produce flowers, as well as its stem will continue its growth process. This is a very hardy plant and is quite fast, so it needs a lot of pruning. I think that going to this point is one of the easiest tasks. Now, with regarding to pruning, we have two ways of doing it. The first is severe pruning, which consists of removing the entire crop from the plant and collecting it all, pruning back to the tertiaries, removing the quaternaries and quinaries. Once this is done, the plant will start again its process of producing new shoots, a phase that takes about 3 to 4 months. The second pruning is done every 15 days, where we will remove all the buds that have already produced seeds or aborted their flower. According to studies, a flower takes about 90 to 95 days to reach the point of harvesting. Taking these results into account, we will be able to stagger production on a quarterly basis. This type of plant, after 14 months of establishment, has a capacity to produce every 15 days.
Y pues una planta tiene la capacidad.
Obviously, there will be times when there will be high production peaks, as well as times when production will be lower. This is an advantage for the agricultural sector. I remember someone who taught me a lot about agriculture, and he once told me a farm that produces money every day, where money goes into the cash register every day, is a farm that becomes a company. So that is the idea of us, that despite the fact that we are late in starting up this type of project, if we take into account our purpose, we will be a profitable agricultural company, generating employment with decent conditions for the workers, and that little by little we can transform our traditional production systems to more advanced production systems, which will allow us to achieve good results as a country, because we hope that this fruit will represent Colombia and our farmers from Cáqueza abroad. Undoubtedly, it is something that excites us, because we are not simply producing for the sake of producing.
En diferentes partes del mundo. Y eso es algo que lo emociona a uno, porque
we are producing with a social sense and with a sense of country, where my work and that other people who are at my side are going to change the history of Colombia.
A cambiar un poquito la historia del país en el que vivimos. Entonces, de verdad, un agradecimiento grande a TV Agro.
I want to thank TV Agro for coming to highlight our work in agriculture and to taking it to different areas of the country. We have had the opportunity to see the content of the channel, and we have taken advantage of these lessons to apply them in our productive projects, which have allowed us to move forward. We believe that from the agricultural sector of the country, we can take forward many initiatives of the private sector. We can sow country, sow territory, and transform the lives of Colombians. Thank you very much, TV Agro.